Traditional construction insurance is complex in and of itself, but talk to us about your specialization, which is owner-controlled insurance programs, otherwise known as wrap-up insurance. Talk to us about some of the benefits of insuring a construction project that way, and just at the highest level, what that type of insurance program looks like.
Sure. Thanks, Catherine. Again, going back to what we were talking about, traditional insurance versus a wrap-up. Doing construction, traditional insurance would normally be an owner and a GC coming together to build a building. They're going to be on the same policy. We would help place that. And then the subcontractors that they hire to come do work at the site are going to come on site with their own insurance. Problem is, in many cases around the country, depending on what the construction is, a lot of the subcontractors may or may not have proper coverage, which would leave the owner and the contractor exposed to claims that wouldn't be covered due to their defective work. So to consolidate that, we would look at an OCIP or a CCIP, contractor-controlled or owner-controlled insurance program, or known as a wrap-up, right? By doing a wrap-up, you are basically wrapping, as it says, wrapping the site into a policy that the owner, the contractor, and the subcontractors are all enrolled. By placing that policy, there's consistent coverage for everybody enrolled, and there's no the ability to eliminate the gaps or not having proper coverage becomes a little bit more seamless. There's a lot that goes into it. I think that the wrap-ups, when you bring up the term, not many brokers understand the wrap-up concept, and if they may get intimidated by it. But the benefits of it, when you look at it from a cost standpoint, the cost of a wrap-up versus traditional insurance is not that much of a difference. You could be half a percent of construction cost in general. It could be, it's not moving the needle much. The thing is that the moving parts, I think, that scare people off. Part of the wrap-up that's important is having the proper administrator. They're going to be able to make sure they vet the subs, collect contracts, do documents, enroll them so that they're enrolled before they go on the job site. Once they're enrolled, they're a named insured. Everybody's a named insured under a wrap-up, so that the coverage that is being placed, the claims get settled within that wrap-up. Project policy terms can run from 24 months to 60 months, plus completed operations tails, which vary by state, could be 3 years to 11 years, depending on the state and the statutes. So it's a start to finish process that will cover that site from the day the shovel goes in the ground to the last day of the statute that a claim can be brought in. It's important. When you're doing the traditional insurance program route, a lot of times, you have an owner GC that's looking at, or the GC just brings their insurance, and then they would also say, well, now the owner needs to buy an owner's interest. And when you put those together, again, it closes the gap between the cost of the wrap-up and the other products that are out there. Part of the wrap-up also is going to be making sure you have the right person to be doing the administration. The bigger brokers do it in-house. They're knowledgeable. They're going to be the ones that can do the financial pro formas. They're going to track claims. They're going to allow the owner access to those claims and see what's going on. They'll track deductible payments. They'll track the contractor's payments into the program. So everybody pays into the insurance. It's not just the owner paying for it. There's going to be subcontractor deducts, they call it, where they go back to those trades based on their contract costs, and they will charge them for the cost of insurance to being enrolled. Another thing to be mindful of too when you're doing the wrap-up is, making sure that you cover or be aware of owner direct contracts outside of the contractor scope. Could be, like I said, it could be a sales office. It could be an off-site staging area. Modular construction, sometimes we have to cover, a lot down the street. It could be an architect, an engineer, a surveyor that needs to come site, take a look. There's, environmental that goes in. There's a lot of things that go into a project before a shovel goes in the ground and through completion. Working with the right retail broker and the wholesale broker that actually understands the intricacies of it. There are a lot of us in the country, but not many that specialize in it. So I think, that's a good starting point for it. And I do think that when you have the ability to put some of these tougher programs or projects into a wrap-up, it's going to give the insured a more complete package to eliminate potential loss, which is why we buy insurance.
Yeah. Well, and that just also speaks to the GenCap advantage of if they have a large construction project or really any size construction project, they should be working with GenCap, because if it is something if it's a risk that makes sense to have wrap-up insurance for it, then we have a specialized team,
Yep.
of course.
We do. There's
in-house that
Yep.
you don't want someone who isn't willing to pass the deal off because they want the commission on the policy and they're not specialists at OCIPs and CCIPs, like you said, just fumbling their way through of like, oh, it can't be that difficult. I'll just handle it because I don't want to pass it off. But what always inevitably ends up happening is whether a retail agent's trying to place it themselves and they may not have the specialization, or they're working with a broker that sure can do their onesie twosie construction insurance risks, but they're just relying on them to have specialization that they don't. A lot of those policies end up on your desk and you're having to fix them and having to rewrite them and put it together the way that it should have been.